Welcome to Economics Revision class for grade 12 provided by the Ministry of Education. This is the third revision lesson of Unit 1, which is about resource allocation. So we are going to see the resources and some basic concepts of economics, more specifically the production possibility, frontier or curve. Let's start with the resources. Resources are categorized into two, called free resources and scarce or economic resources. These free resources are resources that we are not expected to pay, or simply that we get without any cost, are called free resources. For example, sunshine is a free resource. We are not expected to pay to get the service of sunshine. And oxygen is also free resource. But this is not our concern. Our major concern is the scarce or economic resources. Scarce or economic resources are those resources that we cannot get at zero cost, or everybody is expected to make payments to get these resources, called scarce resources. And these scarce resources are broadly categorized into four, called land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. As a student of economics, you have to be familiar with the four economic resources called land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Now let's see these scarce resources or economic resources in detail. First, land. When we say land in economics, the land that we use for sites of buildings, the land that we see, the land that we use for a site of building is considered as land. The land that farmers use for farm production is considered as land. And in economics, when we say land, it constitutes all the free gifts of nature, all the natural resources such as gold, crude oil, tantalum, magnesium, diamond. All these are considered as land in economics, including water. Labor. When we say labor in economics, labor constitutes both the physical and mental efforts of human beings. When we say the physical effort, a person who dig a tunnel is exerting his physical effort, and it is categorized under labor. Mental efforts of human beings is also categorized under labor. For example, the service that is provided by teachers, lecturers, and the medical diagnosis that is provided by medical doctors is considered as labor in economics. The reward for the economic resource labor is called wage or salary, and the reward for the economic resource land is rent. And when we see the third economic resource, which is capital, when we say capital in economics, we are not referring the financial capital one, rather the machineries, buildings, equipments that are used for the production of final goods and services are considered as capital in economics. And the reward for the economic resource capital is interest. And finally, the fourth economic resource is entrepreneurship. This is a special talent of human mind to create something new. This is the resource what makes countries either rich or poor. The Americans are rich because they do have a lot of entrepreneurs, but we are poor because we do have small number of entrepreneurs. So this is very important resource for the development of every country. This entrepreneurship is a resource that combines the three economic resources called land, labor, and capital together to make profit or to make business simply. And entrepreneurs are the one who undertake the risk involved in production to make profits. Now let's see the basic concepts of economics under the basic concepts of economics, there is scarcity. Scarcity is the imbalance between human needs and wants, and this is caused by the limited resources, the limited number of resources. If there is a scarcity, there is choice. That means if there is limited resource, then it leads to choice, and if there is choice, if we are obliged to make choice, we are going to incur cost. This cost is called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the amount of the next best alternative that is given up or foregone while we produce a commodity. And finally, scarcity implies choice, and choice implies cost. Choice implies cost. Under this basic concept of economics, there is a law called the law of increasing opportunity cost. The law of increasing opportunity cost tells us the opportunity cost of a commodity will always increase. That means the amount of the next best alternative that is given up while we choose or produce a commodity will always increase. Simply, it tells us the opportunity cost of a commodity will always increase. Now, let's see another important or basic concept of economics called the production possibility frontier or curve. The production possibility frontier or curve is a curve that shows the various combinations of two commodities that a country can produce by employing the available resources for the production of the two commodities. There are assumptions to plot the PPC. The first assumption is full employment. When we say full employment as an assumption of plotting the production possibility curve or frontier, we are not referring the employment and unemployment rate. Rather, when we say full employment, there is efficient utilization of economic resources. That means there is no idle resource. The other precondition that must be fulfilled to plot the production possibility curve or frontier is fixed resource. That means the country is employing a fixed amount of resources in both quality and quantity. The other assumption is fixed technology. The country is producing the two commodities by employing only the available resources. And finally, we employed only two commodities. As an assumption, the country can produce only two commodities. This is for the sake of simplicity. In order to make illustration easily, we will take only two commodities. Now, let's see the production possibility frontier. Here, if suppose Ethiopia produces teff and tractor, now at combination A, if Ethiopia employs all the available resources for the production of teff only, she will not produce any amount of teff. Hence, she can produce 60 quintal of teff without producing any amount of tractor. And when Ethiopia wants to produce one more tractor, she has to reduce production of teff from 60 quintal to 50 quintal, because the resources which were used for the production of teff are diverted for the production of tractor. And when we come across from combination B to combination C, as Ethiopia wants to increase production of tractor from 1 unit to 2, then the amount of teff produced must be reduced to 30 quintal, because the resources which were used for the production of teff are used for the production of tractor. And when we come across from combination C to combination D, then as Ethiopia wants to add one more tractor, she has to reduce production of teff from 30 quintal to 0. At combination D, Ethiopia employs all the available resources for the production of tractor without producing any amount of teff. Now, the graphical presentation of the production possibility frontier is called the production possibility curve, and it shows the production possibility curve shows the various combinations of two commodities that a country can produce by employing all the available resources for the production of the two commodities only. So, at combination A, the country employs all the available resources for the production of teff only without producing any amount of tractor. At combination B, the country produces 50 quintal of teff and one tractor. And at combination C, the country produces 2 tractors with 30 quintal of teff, and at combination D, the country will not produce any amount of teff, but the country can produce 3 tractors. Now, from this production possibility frontier or curve, any point inside the PPC represents attainable but inefficient combination. That means the country can produce, but there are idle resources. The country is not employing all the available resources efficiently. So any combination inside the production possibility curve or frontier represents attainable but inefficient combinations of the 2 commodities. Any point outside the production possibility curve represents unattainable combination. That means the country cannot produce any combination because there is no resource that is used for the production of the commodities outside the production possibility curve or frontier. So this is the unattainable combination. The country cannot produce any combination outside the production possibility curve or frontier. Any point on the production possibility or curve, any point on the production possibility frontier or curve represents the attainable and efficient condition. That means the country can produce, at the same time the country is efficient. The country is employing all the available resources fully to produce the 2 commodities. Now let's see the mathematical presentation of the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of a commodity is calculated by dividing the amount of a commodity that is given up for the amount of a commodity that is gained. In our model, we represented the amount of a commodity that is given up in the y-axis and that is gained in the x-axis. So we represented the amount of teff that is given up in the y-axis and the amount of tractor that is gained in the x. So this is calculated by dividing change in teff for the change in tractor. That means teff final minus teff initial divided by tractor final minus tractor initial. So as Ethiopia increases production of tractor from 0 to 1, if the production of teff declined from 60 quintal to 50 quintal, then let's take this 0 as tractor initial and this 1 as tractor final. Let's take this 60 as teff final and teff initial and this 50 as teff final. So when we substitute this information on this formula, the value of teff final is 50 quintal minus teff initial is 60 quintal divided by tractor final is 1 minus tractor initial is 0. And this will give us minus 10. And when we put it out of absolute value, we left with 10. So this 10 indicates that as Ethiopia increases production of tractor from 0 to 1, if the production of teff declined from 60 quintal to 50 quintal, then the opportunity cost of producing 1 tractor is losing 10 quintals of teff. Again, when we come across from combination B to combination C, as Ethiopia increases production of tractor from 1 to 2, the amount of teff production declined from 50 quintal to 30 quintal. Now let's take this 1 as tractor initial and this 2 as tractor final, and let's take this 50 as teff initial and this 30 as teff final. And when we substitute this information on this formula, the value of teff final is 30 quintal and teff initial is 50 quintal divided by tractor final is 2 minus tractor initial is 1. So we left with minus 20. When we put it out of absolute value, it is 20. This indicates that as Ethiopia increases production of tractor from 1 unit to 2 units, if the production of teff declined from 50 quintal to 30, then the opportunity cost of producing 1 tractor is 20 quintal. That means as Ethiopia wants to add 1 more tractor, losing 20 quintals of teff. When we come across from combination C to D, then as Ethiopia wants to produce 1 more tractor, as tractor increases from 2 to 3, the production of TEF declined from 30 quintal to 0. Hence, let's take these 2 as tractor initial and 3 as tractor final, and let's take this 30 as TEF initial and this 0 as TEF final. And when we substitute this information on the formula, as we come across from combination C to combination D, then the change in TEF is 0 minus 30 divided by the change in tractor is 3 minus 2, and this is minus 30 divided by 1. When we put it out of absolute value, we left with 30. So as Ethiopia increased production of tractor from 2 unit to 3, if production of TEF declined from 30 to 0, then the opportunity cost of producing 1 tractor is losing 30 quintal of TEF. From this information, we can show the law of increasing opportunity cost, which states that as we produce more and more of a commodity, the amount of the next best alternative that is given up will always increase. Simply, the law of increasing opportunity cost states that the opportunity cost of a commodity will always increase. For example, from this model, the opportunity cost of producing 1 tractor when we come across from combination A to B is 10 quintal of TEF. When we come across from combination B to C, the opportunity cost of producing 1 tractor is 20 quintal. When we come across from combination C to D, the opportunity cost of producing 1 tractor is 30 quintal. That means the opportunity cost of a commodity will always increase. This mathematical representation also reveals the law of increasing opportunity cost of a commodity. Now let's see the properties of the production possibility curve or frontier. The production possibility frontier or curve is concave to the origin. As we see from the origin, the production possibility frontier or curve is concave to the origin. The PPC is concave to the origin due to the law of increasing opportunity cost. That means as we produce more and more of a commodity, the opportunity cost of a commodity will always increase. Due to this law, due to the law of increasing opportunity cost, then the production possibility curve is concave to the origin. Another property of the production possibility curve is negatively sloped, or the production possibility curve is downward sloping curve. This is due to the inverse relationship between the 2 variables that are entered in the x and y axes. That means as we increase production of one of the commodity, we are reducing production of the other, and as we reduce production of one of the commodity, we are increasing production of the other. Hence, there is an inverse relationship between the 2 commodities that are entered in the x and y axes. Hence, the production possibility curve is downward sloping or negatively sloped curve. If there is technological advancement, the production possibility curve will shift outward, and if there is backward technology, the production possibility curve will shift inward. Another important information, the opportunity cost of a commodity is the slope of the production possibility curve or frontier. Since the opportunity cost is calculated by dividing change in the amount of a commodity that is given up for the amount of a commodity that is gained, and we represented all the values of the given up on the y-axis. So change in given up means change in y divided by change in the amount of gain, which is change in x. Hence, this is the vertical difference for the horizontal difference. Then we can conclude that the opportunity cost of a commodity is the slope of the production possibility curve or frontier. This is all about the 3rd lesson of Unit 1. Stay safe, stay home. Thank you.